predicting how the NBA 2020 playoffs will carry out. So, without further ado, I'm gonna start. I have the playoff bracket pulled up, so I'm gonna start from I'm gonna start with the East, then do the West. So, Bucks versus Magic. We all know how that's gonna go. Giannis will probably average 35, 12, and 8. I say, I say Bucks sweep Magic 4-0. Then Pacers versus Heat. Now, I believe the Heat will win, but if TJ Warren is on fire and Victor Oladipo could average like 25, I think the Pacers can get some games. It's a tough one because I could see the pace. It's up in the air to me, but I believe the Heat will do it. Maybe 5 to 6 games. Maybe the Heat win it 4-2 or 4-1. So I slap the Heat winning. So then next is the Celtics versus the 76ers. 76ers don't have Ben Simmons. Joel Embiid got an ankle tweak or something like that. So I don't even think he'll have to like average 40 for them to even have a chance. And Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown, Kemba, Gordon Hayward, this should really, realistically, this should be a sweep. Celtics should sweep the 76ers. So I'd say, yeah, the Celtics are moving on from that. And then Raptors versus Nets. Now, I would say the Nets won't have a chance, but this is the thing. The Nets made the playoffs without Kyrie and KD. That's incredible. So imagine adding them back next year. It's going to be wild for them. But Raptors, defending champions, Raptors should get this series. The Raptors are silently been great, so I feel like Raptors are going to sweep the Nets. So then going back up to the top, next round would be Bucks versus Heat. And you know what? I'm gonna make the unpopular pick right here. I believe the Heat can beat the Bucks. 6 games, the Heat can beat the Bucks 4-2. I believe the Heat will outshoot the Bucks. Yes, that might sound, who can guard Giannis? They just have to do what the Raptors did last year. Just make a wall and then have Duncan Robinson, Tyler Herro, just have them shoot. You know what Jimmy's gonna do for you. Just have them shoot. I think they can outshoot the Bucks, and I believe the Heat can beat the Bucks to go on to the Eastern Conference Finals. Next, we have the Celtics versus the Raptors. This is a tough one. I'ma choose the Raptors, even though if Jason Tatum goes off in this series, he could potentially beat him, and Jaylen Brown could potentially beat these Raptors. Like the Celtics have a good shot. This could go to 7 games, 6 to 7. But I'll give it to the Raptors to beat the Celtics in like 6 to 7 games. So then that leaves the Eastern Conference Finals to be the Heat versus the Raptors. Now, Heat versus Raptors. That's a tough one. It's really tough, and it's like, I don't know. I don't think the Raptors could beat the Heat, to be honest with you. But then it's like the inexperience. The Raptors have been there last year. They only got there because of Kawhi, because of that magic shot. So, I don't know. Do I want to play it safe and go with the Raptors, or do I want to take a wild card and go with the Heat? I'm gonna take the wild card and go with the Heat. I think the Heat can beat the Raptors. What, the Raptors starting five is what? Siakam, Kyle Lowry, Marc Gasol, Fred VanVleet, maybe, and then Ibaka. I think the Heat are a better team. They don't really have that much in like size, but I think the Heat are a better team. So I think the Heat are gonna be the first team from the East. The Heat are gonna get through the East and make it to the NBA Finals. Now I'm gonna do the West, and starting from the top here, Lakers versus Blazers. See, if I were smart, I would go with the Lakers, right? But here's what's gonna go down. Dame and CJ are probably gonna average. No, let me correct that. Dame, CJ, Nurkic are probably gonna average 80 between them. So like 30 for Dame, 30 for CJ, and then 20 for Nurkic. I cannot lie, I think Nurkic can guard AD. I think Nurkic has the power in him to be able to guard AD. So that will leave LeBron on let's say Melo. I think this series can go 6 games. To be honest, I think this series can go 6 games. And you know what? I'm gonna give it to the Lakers because I don't know if Melo can necessarily guard LeBron like that or stop LeBron, because LeBron, it's gonna have to be on LeBron's shoulders, because AD can't really trust AD. He hasn't really proven that he can show up big time. So I'll say Lakers move on 6 to 7 games. Next is Rockets versus Thunder. To me, this one's an easy one. You have two like the most unsuccessful playoff players, Russ and James. I can't lie, I think the Thunder could probably sweep the Rockets, because the Rockets aren't a good pick here. The Rockets, they are not. I don't believe in the Rockets. Small ball versus the Thunder. Chris Paul is gonna cook Russ. Like, I'm sorry, but Chris Paul will cook. He'll cook everyone on the Rockets. And then you got Shea. Then you got Steven Adams. But the Rockets are cooking. Not the Rockets. The Thunder are cooking the Rockets. I say 5 games. 4-1. Thunder move on. Then you have Nuggets versus Jazz. You know what? It all depends on Michael Porter Jr. and Bobo. I think the Nuggets can get it away from the Jazz. Donovan Mitchell, Rudy Gobert, and Mike Conley's left the bubble. So, the Jazz, I don't think so. I think the Jazz are getting swept 4-0 by the Nuggets. Jokic, Murray, Jazz are getting swept by the Nuggets. Nuggets move on. Then you got Clippers versus Mavericks. See, now, this right here, this will be a good series. Luka versus Kawhi, Porzingis versus Paul George. To be honest with you, I could see this going 7 games. Granted, besides those two, Dallas doesn't have anyone else really, realistically. But I could. Let me actually take that back. I don't see this actually going 7 games. Clippers will beat the Mavs in 6. How about that? Clippers beat Mavs in 6. So then going back up top, you have Lakers versus Thunder. I say 6 games. Lakers beat Thunder because AD might show up that game. I love Steven Adams, but AD looks like he'd be able to bully Steven Adams. And then LeBron, I mean, who's going to guard LeBron on the Thunder? They have no one to guard LeBron on the Thunder. I feel like the Thunder will be an easier series than the Blazers, actually. So I I think that the Lakers will beat the Thunder to make them go to the Western Conference Finals. Then you got the Nuggets versus the Clippers. Clippers are finna sauce on the Nuggets. The Nuggets, they're young. That's the thing. In the future, maybe once everyone like retires and moves on. But right now, I'm sorry, Nuggets, y'all aren't the team to be. You aren't that team yet. So I feel like the Clippers will beat y'all 5 to 6 games. Clippers will beat y'all. Y'all will get a game maybe, but Clippers will beat y'all. So that would make the Western Conference Finals Lakers versus Clippers, as everyone would have thought. Now, I'ma go with what I truly believe. These are things that have to happen for this to be the W. For the Lakers, they would have to stop Paul. If Paul George gets 30 points a game in this series with them, they lose, and that's a fact. Because Kawhi will give you like 28. If they let Paul George get 30, it's a wrap. Lakers will lose. But on the flip side, if the Clippers let AD get 30 and LeBron get 25, Clippers lose. So, within saying all that, I believe that the Clippers are going to win based on how deep they are. And you've seen the Lakers in the bubble. They can't shoot for nothing. What was it? They were shooting like 25% from 3? Like 1 in 4? Bro, that's terrible. So I believe the Clippers are going to make it out of the West. For the finals to be the Heat versus the Clippers. Oh, wow. No one would have expected this. And the thing is, I would have to go with the Clippers for being the NBA champions of 2020, the bubble champions of the LA Clippers. I ain't gonna say why. We're gonna wait. We're gonna update this with the playoffs moving. But right now, I have the Clippers being the 2020 bubble champions over the Miami Heat 6-4-0. Sweet.